man, we have to talk about the Caitlin Clark effect. I think over the next couple of weeks or however long she is out, some people, because I think a lot of folks already realize it, but some people will realize how much of an impact she has on the WNBA. It was announced on Monday that she will be out at least 2 weeks. So, not saying she's coming back in 2 weeks, that's not guaranteed. She's out at least 2 weeks dealing with a quad injury. Now, when I first heard the news, I'm like, man, as a Mystics fan, I'm a Mystics fan, by the way. I was like, man, the Fever come to town on Wednesday, and they moved the uh they moved the venue to Baltimore because we Mystics play at Care First Arena in DC. Um, Holds about 4,000 people, and then but with the Fever coming to town, they moved it to a bigger arena because Caitlin Clark to Baltimore CFG Bank Arena, which I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they said it holds like 1,400. So not 1,400, 14,000, 14,000 versus 4,000. So I'm like, man, so how is that? How is that going to affect the game now that you're moving? The game was moved because of one player, and now that one player isn't going to be playing. It's like, what's next? So I came across this article on Front Office Sports. It talked about how ticket prices are plummeting ever since the news broke that Caitlin Clark will be out um, at least 2 weeks. So I want to read some stats. Wednesday's Fever game versus the Washington Mystics at CFG Bank Arena in Baltimore has a getting price of $22, down 47% from the $41 minimum ticket price before the announcement, according to TickPick. CFG Bank Arena holds about 14,000 fans, significantly more than around 4,000 that fits the Care First Arena, the usual Mystics home. Getting tickets for the Fever's rivalry game against the Chicago Sky on June 7th are down 71% from $86 to $25. The game will be played at United Center, the home of the NBA's Bulls, which seats close to 21,000, the largest capacity of any NBA team. The Sky typically play their games at Wintrust Arena, which seats about 10,400. So we're already seeing the flip side of kind of the Caitlin Clark effect. In terms of the ticket prices, you heard the Mystics are down close to 50%, and then the Sky's tickets are down like 70%. So those are big jumps, man, when you think about it. And when it comes to the Sky, of course, the whole Caitlin Clark versus Angel Reese, that's also a draw in for that game. So that's one thing as well. But man, you're looking at the flip side, and I want to touch on this, man. The discourse around you know the WNBA, of course, all started last year, and of course, with the foul that happened, the discourse around, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't like it, man. It's gotten to a point where I mean, it's not even gotten to the point. I think people already see it. It's not even people talking about basketball. It's about everything else but basketball, right? Um, People, you know, it's just gotten out of hand to a point where I think basketball fans who just, you watching the WNBA for basketball, it's like, why I don't even want to go online to talk about it. It's gotten to that point whenever you mention Caitlin Clark, whenever you mention Angel Reese, I'm just keeping it real. I'm keeping it a buck. Whenever you mention those two ladies, 90% of the discourse around that doesn't even have to do with basketball. So I think, man, I think something has to give. That can't be the biggest draw like that. That can't be why the only, that can't be the discussion that dominates every other discussion in the W, man. It's like reality TV when you think about it. But man, I talk about my mystics. I talk about, the rookies, Kiki and Sonya. You just try to keep it ball, right? Like, of course, you're gonna have trolls, you're gonna have people say things about players. Um, like, oh, so and so is trash, or that things of that nature. But when, of course, people are going to take it too far as well, and when they do, it's like, come on, man. It's just gotten to a point where that can't be the conversation that dominates the W. It just can't be. I don't. It's like you're going to turn away the people who, actually want to talk ball, who actually want to, you know, look around the league and talk about different things. One thing I want to touch on, man, extremist. I'm not a big extremist. I'm a Mystics fan. I'm a fan of the Rockets. I'm a fan of the Texans, but I don't let that, you know, get me out of my character. I don't let that be, it may, yeah, my team lose. I'm like, oh man, we lost. But I'm not like down for the count. Like, it's not gonna affect me, in my daily life. I know it's things outside of that. So I just don't like extremists. And I think we have a lot of that. And it doesn't even involve basketball. So man, you got the Caitlin Clark effect, man. You see how, big she is to the game. When you think of the WNBA in its current state, I would think the faces right now, Aja Wilson and Caitlin Clark. You know, they're the two biggest faces in the league. And I think when people say, oh, it can only be one face of the league, I don't think that's true, right? Of course, I'm gonna relate it back to the NBA. Of course, LeBron has been the most consistent face pretty much ever since he, his what fourth, ever since he took the Cavs to the final, he's been the consistent face of the league, right? But it is when that his second stint in Cleveland, when he was going to the went to what, like four finals with Cleveland, 4 or 5 finals with Cleveland when they were going against Golden State all those years. Steph was right there. Like, Steph's popularity was up there with LeBron. I'm just keeping and just being real. So I think it could be multiple faces when it comes to leagues. And right now, I think it's Caitlin Clark and Asia Wilson. But like I said, man, we see the Caitlin Clark effect. We see the ticket prices dropping, right? Because she won't be on that court. Um, and man, I hope this discourse around the W starts to change and become more of a basketball centric, you know, those type of discussions. But in the comments, let me know, man. What are your thoughts on the Caitlin Clark effect, as I mentioned, and how do you think? I'm really looking forward to, not looking forward to, but I think it's going to be interesting when the ratings come back of these games that she won't be playing in. So that's going to be something to look at, and I'm sure that's going to be a conversation piece for a lot of folks for the next few weeks. So